Welcome to Cinema Wellman. I'm your host, David, and I'm once again cat-sitting for Courtney as she's off to another music festival. This time, Delta brought along a housemate for his stay. And so welcome to Cinema Wellman, Pedro. Pedro is a jumping spider. And since the pet-sitting precedent was set with Nora, then Delta, Pedro is getting to co-host this episode of Unsettling Spider Cinema. During his visit, Pedro was subjected to 16 different spider movies he had never seen. All 16 were also new to me, so you won't be hearing about spider cinemas such as Arachnophobia, The Mist, Kingdom of the Spiders, Enemy, Spaceman, or any of the seemingly hundreds of movies in the Spider-Man universe. Other shows cover stuff like that. You come to Cinema Wellman for the egg sack of spider cinema, not that mainstream web stuff. Here at Cinema Wellman, with Pedro, you get spider movies such as Itsy Bitsy, Ice Spiders, Arachnoquake, Big Ass Spider, Eight-Legged Freaks, Spiders on a Plane, Spiders, and Spiders. So here are 16 legs, 2 spiders worth, of spider movies that Pedro and I screened during his visit. Pedro was underwhelmed with most of them, as was I, but we have to say that we were pretty impressed with the spider effects used in the majority of the movies that we watched. It must be a hell of a lot easier to CGI spiders than it is sharks, since most of these spiders were actually spidery. And we learned stuff about spiders, didn't we, Pedro? The whole liquefying the prey and then sucking out the stuff and keeping the things alive and everything, they are scary. Now, for the record, I don't have a spider issue or a bug issue of any kind, for that matter. Here at Wellman, I do my best to capture bugs and release them back into nature, except mosquitoes. I straight up kill mosquitoes, and I have no problem with that. So, here are the 16 legs of spider movies ranked from worst to the best, if that's a word that you'd like to use. Many of these movies seem like the same movie. I'll give you the IMDb synopsis for each movie, and you'll see what I mean. I'll also give you the method in which the spiders were eradicated in each movie. I'm sorry that spoils anything, but let's face it, you're not going to watch these anyway. But not that much else. I'm not going to spoil much else, since there's really not much else to spoil, because there's not much in the way of a plot for most of these. And most of these movie spiders fall into one of the following categories. You got your lab spiders, you got your alien spiders, your mutant spiders, your real spiders, and spiders from another dimension. So we'll make sure you get that info as well. So, all right, you ready? Let's spin this web, Pedro. Pedro's been here since, Pedro's been here for like 7 days, and he really hasn't moved. You're very easy to take care of, Pedro. Okay, let's spin this web. We're going to start with the bottom, 2003's Arachnia, rated R, 82 minutes. IMDb, 3.3, directed by Brett Piper. IMDb, when a small research plane carrying a group of science students and their professor crash lands in the middle of nowhere, the survivors go to a nearby farmhouse to look for help, but soon find themselves besieged by giant mutant spiders. Okay, so like a corrupt politician, are there any other kinds? Testifying before Congress, I'm going to be saying the phrase, I don't remember, quite a bit during this episode for a variety of reasons, the main one being that very few of these movies were memorable. I found myself watching the trailers before writing this to help me discern one spider movie from the next. The only thing that stands out about Arachnia is how bad the acting was. The papier-mâché spiders had more range than the cast. Spiders were eventually defeated by poorly thrown Molotov cocktails and explosives. This isn't the lowest IMDb score of the bunch, but it's our worst of the worst. All right, next up, from 2007, you get Ice Spiders, rated R, 86 minutes. IMDb, 3.2, directed by Tibor Takacs. IMDb says a top secret government project has produced giant spiders, and they've escaped killing and eating everything in sight. I wonder if government shutdown affects the giant spider departments. I don't know. I've never trusted the government, really, especially when it comes to spiders. But in this movie, the government goes below and beyond. Once they come in and kill all the spiders they are responsible for unleashing, they make up a story and they threaten everyone who says otherwise. Classic top secret government spider cover up. Next, we get camel spiders from 2011, rated R, 79 minutes. IMDb 2.6, directed by Jim Wynorski. IMDb, dozens of large man-eating camel spiders first attack soldiers in the desert of Iraq, then invade the southwestern United States. How they get there, that's not important. The only thing I remember about this is thinking that the military technical advisor must have been just some guy who saw Saving Private Ryan once. These are natural spiders. They're real spiders. Camel spiders are also known as sun spiders, or the very sexy title, the wind scorpions. So why wasn't this titled Wind Scorpions? I like that better. Next, from 2012, Arachnoquake. It's exactly what you think it is. Not rated, 86 minutes, IMDb 2.8, directed by Griff First. I don't think that's a real name. IMDb, an earthquake triggers a brood of giant fire-breathing spiders to attack the city of New Orleans. Poor New Orleans gets Katrina and an arachnoquake. I was ready to make a snarky comment about this, how this New Orleans looked a lot like Toronto, but it actually was shot entirely in Louisiana. And it was shot in 17 days, and it shows it. Do you remember Bug Hall, Alfalfa, in the 1994 film The Little Rascals? Do you remember Edward Furlong, Sarah Connor's son in Terminator 2 Judgment Day? Do you remember Tracy Gold, Carol Seaver from TV's Growing Pains? Well, all three of them are in this mess in which the spiders are finally defeated by fire. Original. Next up, you've heard of Snakes on a Plane, but did you know about Spiders on a Plane? 2024, not rated, 78 minutes. These can't even break 80 minutes. IMDb, generous 3.7, directed by Ben J. Williams. IMDb, a group of 4 friends takes on a plane full of deadly venomous spiders, accidentally released by a mad Russian scientist, attacking all on board the 747 flight from the UK to Colombia. For a movie made last year, this has some of the worst CGI interaction I've ever seen. These 4 friends taking on a plane full of deadly venomous spiders swing and miss all over the place, and yet the spiders all die. I really have no recollection of how this group of 4 friends finally defeats a plane full of deadly venomous spiders accidentally released by a mad Russian scientist attacking all on board the 747 flight from the UK to Colombia. Next, from 2021, Spider in the Attic. Is it you, Pedro? Are you in the attic? Not rated. 83 minutes. IMDb 2.8. Directed by Shannon Holiday. IMDb says a deadly nest of spiders lurk in the attic, and the nest is about to be awoken by a news reporter and her colleagues. Oh, those pesky news reporters and their colleagues. There's an attic full of spiders, and I believe the spiders actually win this battle. I always root for the spiders against the media when it comes to spiders versus media, and why wouldn't you? Next, 2001's Arachnid, R, 95 minutes, IMDb 4.0, directed by Jack Shoulder. A scientific expedition investigating the outbreak of an unknown viral epidemic on an island in the South Pacific battles with a giant alien spider in the jungle. These gigantic alien jungle spiders are eventually defeated by machine guns and poison darts laced with their own venom? Are spiders susceptible to their own venom? Is that a thing? And I do a lot of research for you. I didn't really care to look that one up, but I think I might. Who knows? Next. Wait a second. What was the last one called? Arachnid. This is Spiders from 2013, PG-13, 89 minutes, IMDb 3.4. Directed, here's Tibor Takacs again. After a Soviet space station crashes into a New York City subway tunnel, a species of venomous spiders is discovered, and soon they mutate to gigantic proportions and wreak havoc on the city. Soviet space spiders. I love that this Soviet space station just crashes into a New York City subway tunnel. Even better, the kaiju-sized Soviet spider is killed by a New York City subway train. He doesn't step on the third rail, but he's hit by the car. And while we're here, can we stop with a divorced couple in movies going through a difficult situation like a Soviet space station crashing into a New York City subway station, and then getting back together? Please. Next. So that was Spiders from 2013. Next is Spiders from 2000. Rated R, 94 minutes, IMDb 3.9. Thank you, Gary Jones, for directing this. A DNA experiment on a rare breed of spider is taking place on a NASA space shuttle when a freak meteor shower engulfs the shuttle, causing everything to go horribly wrong. Another movie titled Spiders that involves space. Small universe. This one features first-time bazooka shooter firing bazooka, and it's right on target. I love when that happens. Space spiders are more believable than that bazooka thing. Next, it's not titled Spiders. It's called Itsy Bitsy. It's from 2019. Not rated, 94 minutes. IMDb 4.6. None of these are really top-notch here. Directed by Micah Gallo. Based on the centuries-old poem, a family moves into a secluded mansion where they soon find themselves being targeted by an entity taking the form of a giant spider. This was one of those ancient curse things that should have relied more on the poem, nursery rhyme, whatever you want to call it, in my opinion. It was a good-sized spider. The effects were pretty good, so not a total waste of time, but it could have been better. Next, we have the giant spider invasion from 1975. That was before you were born. PG, 80 minutes, IMDb 3.3, directed by Bill Rebane. There's the giant spiders from another dimension invade Wisconsin. That's IMDb. That's quick. That's right to the point. So these spiders come all the way from another dimension and they go to Wisconsin? Hey, spiders, if you're near Spring Green, Wisconsin, check out a little place called Barron Brooks. Drop my name. They won't do anything for you, but tell them who sent you. All right. So Alan Hale Jr., the skipper, is in this one, and his first line is, "Hey, little buddy," and I enjoyed that little homage there. What I didn't enjoy as much is how Alan Hale Jr.'s top 4 buttons on his sheriff's shirt they're always unbuttoned. He is no Dawn Wells. Next, from 1958, Earth versus the Spider. Approved, 73 minutes, IMDb 4.7, directed by Bert I. Gordon, who I kind of like. Teenagers from a rural community and their high school science teacher join forces to battle a giant mutant spider. This giant mutant spider is an alien spider who, like many of the other spiders in these movies, is defeated by explosives. Why don't they just start with the explosives? I mean, these movies would be 20 minutes long. They're not much longer, but they'd only be 20 minutes long. Now, the final 4 movies are really the only ones we would recommend. And what a shocker, 2 of those 4 feature kaiju-sized spiders, starting with Eight-Legged Freaks from 2002, rated PG-13, 99 minutes, IMDb 5.5, directed by Ellery Elkayem. Venomous spiders get exposed to a noxious chemical that causes them to grow to monumental proportions. These spiders are real spiders, but that chemical spill makes them the eight-legged freaks in the title. The ex-Mr. Courtney Cox stars in and does not ruin this film, and it's really a throwback to the sci-fi monster movies of the 50s. And an 18-year-old Scarlett Johansson has a prominent role as the sheriff's daughter. This one was silly fun with decent spider effects. Next up is a movie that is not about the lead singer and bass player of the Police. From 2024, Sting. Rated R, 91 minutes, IMDb 5.7, directed by Kaya Roach Turner. After raising an unnervingly talented spider in secret, none of that's good. 12-year-old Charlotte must face the facts about her pet and fight for her family's survival when the once charming creature rapidly transforms into a giant flesh-eating monster. No ideas, Pedro. No ideas, buddy. Charlotte, get it, is played by Aaliyah Brown, who also played young Furiosa in Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. She does a very good job in this as she watches helplessly as her pet turns into a monster. Pedro and I love the practical effects that were used instead of CGI for most of the movie, even though it's a current movie. And Charlotte's weapon of choice being a water mothball solution shot out of a super soaker is most excellent. You go, Charlotte. Next, from 2013, it's easily the best title on the whole list. Big Ass Spider, rated PG-13, 80 minutes, IMDb 5.3, directed by Mike Mendez. A giant alien spider escapes from can't these military labs keep a lock on things? And it rampages the city of Los Angeles. We enjoyed this because it's really an old school 50s sci-fi movie made in 2013. Kaiju-sized alien spider attacking Los Angeles. I am getting in that van every time. This was fun and worth a look. If you're a fan of giant spider movies, that is. One to go, and it's one of those classic monster movies that Big Ass Spider was paying tribute to. It's from 1955, and it's titled Tarantula. Now, Courtney also has a tarantula, but I didn't need to take that tarantula like I did Pedro because the tarantula was fed before she left and is going to be fed again when she gets back. As was Pedro, but Pedro needs a little water. So that's all he got was water. I tried to give him rum. He did not like it. Okay, so Tarantula from 1955, approved, 80 minutes. Jack Arnold directed it. IMDb says 6.4. So a spider escapes from an isolated Arizona desert laboratory experimenting in gigantism and grows to tremendous size as it wreaks havoc on the local inhabitants. This lab is extremely well done for a film made in 1955, as the scientists are growing all sorts of animals to gigantic forms. Those growth serums do that every time. This is another kaiju-grade spider that is ultimately taken out by, in this film, napalm, dropped from a plane, dropped by uncredited fighter squadron leader Clint Eastwood. How about that? Well, that is a wrap, Pedro and I, for our Spider Cinema episode. I hope you weren't too freaked out by it. No spiders were harmed during this episode, and they were also fed water. We'd like to thank Pedro for sitting in on this episode and sitting through all those spider movies as well. We hope you're back with us next time when we remember the late, great Robert Redford with our top 10 of his films. And until then, take care. Say bye, Pedro. All 8.